Oh, good. Third, when I show you an example, I'll ask it again, and it might seem a little familiar too. So first, we're going to cross-reduce the fractions to simplify them. I have a couple of asterisks. In order to cross-reduce a fraction, choose one numerator and one denominator, either vertically or diagonally. Cross-reducing can only be applied for multiplication questions. So the special trick I'm teaching you, but cross-reducing can only be done when you have a multiplication line. You cannot do it for addition and numerators, then recorded. All right, you guys, so let's take a look at question number 1. When you guys were in middle school or elementary school, when you learned how to multiply fractions, did you just learn to multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators? Okay. You don't remember? Oh no. All right, so let's pretend like you've never learned this before. When you are multiplying a fraction, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply the numerators and you're going to multiply the denominators. However, sometimes you can make the numbers easier by cross-reducing. In this question, we cannot cross-reduce anything, so I'm not even going to show you the rules until we get to a question where you can do that. So let's just practice multiplying. We take the numerator, it's going to be 4 times -2, which is -8. 5 times 7 is 35, and that's it. If you can reduce this fraction or simplify the fraction, you should. But can we simplify this fraction anymore? We can't simplify it anymore. So the answer is just going to be -8 over 35. This is one of those easier questions you're going to see, one of the really straightforward ones, because all you're doing is taking the top numbers and then bottom and multiplying. Okay, let's do the same thing for this one. I've added another negative sign. So in this question, what we're doing is it's going to be -3 times -1, which is, yeah. And by the way, why did I put this negative in the numerator? Well, I kind of always do that, but it doesn't have to be. You can put it in the numerator or denominator and you'll still get the same answer. Whenever there's a negative sign, I always put it in the numerator because I will forget if I don't. So I think of this as -3 times -1, which is +3. And then what's 4 times 5? Can we reduce this fraction? We can't. That is our final answer. Okay, question number 3. Now let's look at the numbers. 4 times -21 and 8 times 7. The numbers are getting larger. So we need a trick or something to help us make the numbers smaller so that when we multiply them, we're not sitting there trying to multiply these massive numbers without our calculator. Jen, what can you see that we can do? Good. Okay, so what we can do for cross-reducing is you are going to find a pair of numbers either on top of one another or diagonal. So diagonal means like crisscross. Vertical means on top, never horizontal. So you're never going to find two numbers side by side. It'll always be on top or it'll be side by side. And if you can reduce them by dividing by the same thing, you should. So for example, do you guys see that first fraction, 4 and 8? What can I divide both of those numbers by? Sure. 2 or what else? What's even better? 4. Okay, let me just rewrite this. So it's 4 over 8 times -21 over 7. So I don't know if you guys remember from last time, but when we were reducing our fractions, I made a little division sign and I wrote 4, a little division sign and I wrote 4. So I'm basically taking this fraction over here and I'm reducing it by dividing both of them by 4. How about this fraction over here? Jen, what can I divide these by? Yep, and what did you, so you're basically dividing by 7, right? So I'm dividing by 7 over here, and I'm dividing by 7 over here. The rules for reducing is that it has to be two numbers that are on top of one another or diagonal, and it can only be two numbers at a time. So as soon as you pick those two numbers, you can't pick a third one. Okay, so what is 4 divided by 4? So I'm going to cross this out and I'm going to write a 1. What is 8 divided by 4? I'm going to cross this out and I'm going to write a 2. Can you guys confirm that 4 over 8 is the same as 1 over 2? Yeah. So all we did is we kept the fraction the same. We haven't changed it. We're just making the numbers smaller so it's easier for us. What is negative 21? Negative 3. And what's 7 divided by 7? Just a 1. And can you guys yeah, it's just division. Okay. So see all these little numbers in the light pink? I'm going to rewrite them. So it's going to be 1 over 2 times negative 3 over 1. 1 over 2 times negative 3 over 1. Have I made all of the fractions smaller and easier? Yes. But are they exactly the same as before? Yeah, they're just equivalent. Now what we can do is we can multiply the top numbers together. So what's 1 times negative 3? Good. And what is 2 times 1? 2. And that is our final answer. And this method that I have just done is called cross-reducing. All right, let's try question number 4. Once again, I'm going to rewrite it. Negative 90 over 6 times 36 over 30.
Please excuse this interruption. Please make sure that all attendance has been completed. Thank you.
Okay, so these numbers are really big. 90 times 36, you're going to get a massive number. And also you don't have a calculator, so you're going to waste a lot of time doing it. 6 times 30, again, massive numbers. We are going to cross-reduce in order to make the numbers smaller. So remember last time we cross-reduced vertically? Another way to cross-reduce is diagonally. So we can actually cross-reduce the 90 and the 30 and the 6 and the 36. Let's see how we would do that. Can anyone tell me what is a number that 6 and 36 are both divisible by? Jen? Yep. So I'm going to go ahead. Can you see that? There's no way you can see that. I picked a color way too light. Okay, let's try this one. So I'm going to put a little division sign, 6, a little division sign, 6. And I do want you to get used to writing this just so that you can see what numbers you are dividing by. Okay, how about 90 and 30? What can I divide those by? Farabi, I missed you the last time. Do you want to answer this one? 3? 3 is what? 30. Yeah, perfect. So let's divide this by 30. Let me review the rules of cross-reducing again. You can only do it for a multiplication question, and you can only cross-reduce numbers that are either on top of one another or diagonal, okay? So you could not cross-reduce 6 and 30. Even though they're divisible, they're side by side, you're not allowed to cross-reduce those. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rewrite the numbers. What is negative 90 divided by 30? It's gonna be negative 3. How about 6 divided by 6? It's going to be a 1. How about 36 divided by 6? That's going to be a 6. And how about 30 divided by 30? It's going to be a 1. So we're going to rewrite the question. I'm recording. Hi. Grade 9. Grade 9. No, you're not. Okay, then we're going to rewrite the numbers that are in the pink again. So it's going to be negative 3 over 1 times 6 over 1. And you guys see how much easier this question is? And if you had chosen to multiply and then divide after, you would still be doing this question and trying to figure out how to make the fraction smaller and smaller. This method is far more efficient, much easier. And once you practice doing it, it really becomes very, very straightforward. What's our final answer here? Jen? Negative or positive? It's going to be negative 18. Okay, so question 5 is different from all the rest because what do you guys notice about question 5? It has 3 numbers. So I'm going to rewrite this as before, negative 6 over 5 times 2 over 3. And by the way, you don't have to rewrite it. I just do it so that I'm not squishing in everything. Remember, the rules of cross-reducing are when there's multiplication signs, which we have. And we're going to pick basically two numbers that are either vertical or diagonal to cross-reduce. Only at a time. So you start with a match pair of numbers that can be cross-reduced. Saoirse, did you have your hand up or did I miss you? Okay, Nicole. Hi, sorry, it just froze and now we should be back. Now you can see it, okay? And then any other pair of numbers that you can maybe reduce the fraction by, Ari? I'm going to divide this by 5 and I'm going to divide this by 5. And by the way, there are multiple ways to do this question. This is just one of them. For example, even though we picked 2 and 8, someone else could have maybe picked 3 and 15 to divide by, or 6 and 8, right? So there's no one way. You can do this in multiple different ways. Okay, let's keep going. What is -6 divided by 3 going to give me? So I'm going to cross this out and I'm going to write a -2 on top. How about 5 divided by 5? What's that going to give us? Cross that out and write a 1. Okay. 2 divided by 2? Cross that out, write a 1. Am I going too fast? Are you guys okay? You're good? Okay. 3 divided by 3? Cross that out, write a 1. -15 divided by 5? -3. 8 divided by 2? 4. Let's rewrite this fraction with all of the new numbers. So it's going to be -2 over 1. I'm basically writing the obnoxious green numbers again. So -2 over 1 times 1 over 1 times -3 over 4. Am I allowed to cross reduce again? The answer is yes. Once you have done it one time, you can do it as many times as you need to. Do you guys see any numbers that I can cross reduce again in this new fraction over here? Sienna? Yeah, what can I divide those by? Yeah, so I'm going to do it one more time. Divide by 2, divide by 2. -2 divided by -2 is -1, and this is going to give me a 2. And I'm going to be lazy. I'm not going to write it again. I'm just going to start multiplying. So -1 times 1 times -3. What's that going to give us? +3, good. 1 times 1 times 2. What's that going to give us? Just a 2, and that would be our final answer. And once again, the reason why we cross reduce is for efficiency. If you were sitting there and multiplying 6 times 2 times 15, then 5 times 3 times 8, and then trying to simplify it, it would take you much longer than doing it this way. Okay, you guys, so let's try question number 6. For this question, there is another added level of difficulty. Can anyone see what that level of difficulty is? Yes. Brackets, and what kind of fraction do we have here? We have a mixed fraction. So what we're going to have to do is, yeah, go ahead. How would we do this question? Okay, so you write, yep. 5 over -8 over -5. Yeah, so 5 times 1 is 5 plus 3 is 8. So it's going to be -8 over 5. Good. So you take out that 8. You cross reduce the 8s because you find a matching pair of numbers that you can simplify. 3 and 5 we can't simplify at all. So 8 and 8 have to be it. So what we're going to divide this by 8. This by 8, okay? That would be 1 and -1. I'm going to rewrite the question so it's with the new numbers. So 3/1 times -1/5. Sorry, I did that a little fast, so I'll just pause so you can write that down. Okay, so basically what we did is we converted this mixed fraction to an improper fraction. We found a pair of numbers to cross reduce and they happen to be 8 and 8. I divided it by 8 and 8. I got a 1 and -1. Then I rewrote the fraction with these new numbers in the yellow. So 1 came here, -1 came here. And now we can't cross reduce anything. We just multiply the numerators. 3 times -1 is 5. Good job. Let's get one new volunteer now to do. So questions 7 and 8 are more of the same thing. We're just practicing the same concept. It's just that they're getting more difficult, more negative signs, more brackets, etc. Javin, do you want to start off by, just trying to see what colors I haven't used so I can be a little different. Do you want to start off by converting this to a mixed fraction? Go ahead. -5/2, good. -9/10, good. And go ahead and tell me what the numbers are going to be that I can cross reduce. Yeah, the matching pair of numbers are 5 and 10. What can I divide those by? Try again? Yeah. So I'm going to divide this by 5, and I'm going to divide this by 5. When I do that, -5 divided by 5 is? -1. What, Javen? 10 divided by 5 is? Good job. Now one second, my computer just, so, yep, I know you can't see it. Yep. Good, and then can you find a matching pair of numbers to multiply by or divide by? No, there's nothing in this question that you can actually cross reduce. There's nothing else that you can cross reduce. So we're just going to multiply out what's -1 times -9. Nicole? -1 times -9? +9. 2 times 2? 4. Can we cross reduce, or I mean reduce this anymore? Nope, that would be our final answer. Last question. Okay, a couple of new volunteers now. Let's start by changing the mixed fractions into improper. So Aritra. -3/8, good. 9/5, good. Yep, 16 over -18, good. So all we had to do was really change this fraction into this. Aritra, do you want to just also help me with the cross reducing? So find a pair of numbers that we can reduce. Good, what can I divide those by? Good, so 9 divided by 9, -18 divided by 9. I'll come back to that. And then there's one more pair of numbers that you can reduce. Yeah. What can I divide those by? Good job. 8 divided by 8. And 16 divided by 8. So when I do all of this math, 1 divided by 9 will be 16 divided by 8 will give me 2. -18 divided by 9 is going to give me -2. It's just going to take a second to come up. Oh, it's stuck. There we go. Okay, can someone tell me, help me rewrite the fractions? Shams, go ahead. the times 1 over 5, yep. Excellent, yep. Now let's look at this fraction. Is there anything we can cross reduce here? Are you sure? Remember, cross reducing is not just diagonal, Omer. Yeah, we can actually do it one more time. We have these numbers. I can divide this by 2, and I can divide this by 2. Whoops. So this is going to be a 1, and this is going to be a -1. Now, I'm kind of lazy. I don't rewrite it again. It's kind of clear to see, Nicole. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's yes and no. It's kind of like 0. Okay, let's do this one. -3 times 1 times 1. What's that give us? Just -3. And then 1 times 5 times -1. -5. Can I simplify this fraction a little bit? What about the 2 negatives? That doesn't look good, Abrami. It would just be 3 divided by 5. Good job. Abrami? Number 6, I got -3 over 5. Okay, so before I turn off the recording, your classwork or your homework is going to be handout C2. However, this handout has multiplication and division. So circle along with me. I'll tell you which questions I would like you to try. I want you to do all of question 4. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. And I would like you to do question 5A, 5B, and 5C. Everything else has a division sign, so we will do that after we learn division. So your only homework is going to be all of question 4, 5A, B, and C. I really hope you're keeping up with your homework, and we're going to take that up in tomorrow's class.